don't have a country where I belong. See me. I belong here. See me. See here, see now, I belong here. See me, see Scotland, see here, see now, I belong here. We all have a country. We all have a country where we belong. Where we belong and where we can become. Become what we can be. Become what we could be. And see me. See here. See me. See Scotland. See here. See now. Now, I belong.
Welcome back to Global Village. I'm Buddy Kunanan. Tonight's topic is Scotland the Brave. And joining us still is Les Blair. He's the chieftain of the St. Andrew Society. And joining him is Heather Price, and the past chieftain of the same society. Welcome back, Les, and of course, Heather, to our second segment titled Scotland the Brave. Now, let's have an introduction first. Heather, tell us a bit about yourself. I understand you have a very interesting history and connection to the Philippines.
Oh, well, I've always considered the Philippines to be my home. I was born here. I've lived here most of my life. I did some education in the UK, but when I had the chance to come back, I always chose to come back because I do better in the warm weather. I'm a Scot at heart, but
So
I'm not so good in the cold weather.
Definitely islands is home for you.
Definitely.
The islands are home for you. Bravo, bravo. Now, I understand your parents were also here.
My
a
father
long
was
time
here
ago.
as a young man
Yeah.
before the war, and when the Japanese came in, took over the country, he was interned with other Allied men here, young and old.
Yeah.
And my mother was in China at the time, but she was on her way from China to Australia, but the ship was stranded here in the Philippines just after Pearl Harbor was bombed. And they were also interned. And my father and my mother met
In the
as
camp?
youngsters in Santo Tomas prisoner of war camp.
That's an amazing love story, yeah?
Yes,
And they got married, settled down here, and you were born here, actually.
I was born here, and my sister was also.
Very
we
good.
lived
So,
here.
so this is really,
This is home.
This is home for you.
Yeah.
You know, that is an amazing connection, and to have that story of the internment camp at UST, and that's where your parents met. I think that's almost the movie right there.
Thank you. I love it. I love the history, and it's one thing that I would really like to spend some time investigating and doing more with
Very good.
when I
Very
have
good.
a chance to do so. Yeah.
Very good. Now let's talk about you guys, because he's a chieftain of the St. Andrew Society. You're the past chieftain. What is a chieftain? I mean, it's a chief, obviously.
It's really
someone that's
just
a
the person
boss.
who's at the top there who says, right, we should do something with this, and let's get on with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point about the society was it was developed to support Scots who were here. I mean, mostly they were here as young people, very little family. Of course, Scotland was miles and miles and miles away. You could only get there by sea. It was
Yes.
a long way away.
Yes.
Family was a long way away. So they banded together, as all communities do in any other part of the world. And so the society was formed, and they would uphold various rituals and cultures and that kind of thing that they would have done when they were at home, sort of give them that link with their community.
How old is the St. Andrew Society here in
We
the
were
Philippines?
formed in the late 1800s,
Okay.
and
Wow.
the thing we are very proud about is that we've been active in this country, supporting Scots, supporting the community for all the years since those times, except for the 4 years of Japanese
During the war, yes.
internment.
And the late 1800s, so it kind of is about the same time that the Great Migration from Scotland to the New World really happened. So you see even back then, that connection, that longing to establish and maintain that connection with the homeland was already there for you Scots. Eh? And the main purpose of this society is really to promote the culture and to keep the memory of this culture alive. No?
That's exactly right.
And I want to talk about what Les is wearing, because this is a traditional, this is the national dress of Scotland, and it's called the kilt. No? So can we run down the elements of a kilt, Les? I mean,
So you start with a jacket. There are a number of different styles. This is quite a formal jacket because it has the buttons. But there are others which are made of tweed, for instance, which someone would typically wear during the day. There are more dress jackets, which are different again. You've then got the kilt itself. You've got the sporran, which historically would have been a money pouch. Typically, it would have been worn at your side, which developed into the sporran. Then you have maybe I'll show you the shoe,
Yeah.
which is a traditional shoe that you would use for dancing also.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be worn for dancing. So particularly on wooden floors, like we have at the Manila Polo Club, it sounds very nice on the floor. So it dances.
You have a clicking sound.
You get the
yeah?
click, clickety clack. This is the dirk, or the ski and do, which is tradition. So a Highlander typically would carry a small dagger like this, and
For defense.
For defence, and then that's worn in your sock.
Right in the sock.
Right in the sock.
So it just goes, I mean, really that warring part of your culture is, I mean, you see right there. You've got to have a dagger.
You see it right there. You see it right there.
Okay.
So a lot of the dress is evolving now in modern days. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of more modern outfits today. So it's not all in the past. And we're going to talk about pipers hopefully later. And there's a group of pipers called the Red Hot Chili Pipers, which are just young guys, and they're really stirring it up now.
Nice name,
And
Red
a
Hot
nice
Chili
name,
Pipers.
Exactly, and they're really stirring up. So the whole culture is modernising and changing.
Yes.
It's firmly rooted in dance.
And I want to talk about dance since you mentioned the shoes and dancing. And I think that is one of the main activities of the St. Andrew Society, right? I mean,
We try. Yes, we
yes.
try.
What is so special about, and Liz mentioned it earlier, that every Scotsman or Scotswoman knows how to dance. It's part of your culture. Everyone does it from 9 to 90. Okay, so what is so special about Scottish country dancing?
It's a social event. It's a very social part of the community. We don't do it as individuals. You dance in a team. You dance with a group of 8 people or 16 people. And it's a social event, and every dance relies on cooperation between each of the dancers. So it's not a case of I'm an individual and I'm going to survive on my own. It's I must be part of this. I have to get involved. And it really reflects the way the Scots live, because it's a very cooperative style of dance.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about the whole clan system where everyone helps each other out. It's essentially families bonded together.
Yes,
That's what a clan
exactly.
is.
That's right.
And how is this different from Irish country dancing? Because I've seen some clips of Irish dancing, kind of similar in a way. Would you say? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
It's the Irish country dancing and the Irish dance that we see on the television. It's very disciplined. It's very static. I mean, it's they're very rigid and that kind of. But Scottish country dancing is more free flow, as you'll probably see. I think you're going to be able to show a clip of some of our dancers.
Would the outfits contribute to being free flowing? Because I mean, I guess there's really more movement when you wear the kilts.
Definitely.
And the kilts for women, rather than trousers, I guess.
And you may not get to see it today, but when a Scotsman who's wearing the full kilt turns, you get this wonderful display of the fabric in the kilt, because there's yards and yards of fabric in each kilt.
Okay.
And it's made, you have to go to a special kilt baker who knows how to fold it and press it.
Yeah, because when you see it like this, it looks like you wrapped some nice fabric around your waist, put a belt, and
Correct.
you're good to go. But it's actually more complicated than that.
It is a bit more complicated, and traditionally the man doesn't wear underpants. So it's even more exciting when the dancing gets going.
When you twirl and then the
Correct.
the kilt kind of flies away.
Correct.
Oh, okay. So it's definitely R18. Definitely R18 there. Okay. So let's talk about your activities here. I understand you're teaching this to Filipinos. It's not just the foreign community or the Scottish community in the Philippines. It's actually doing this now.
No, that's right. And in fact, our foreign community here is so busy with all the various activities that go on here, and of course they're all here to work, that I have found a fantastic group of youngsters who are happy to learn and interested to learn. And we're lucky to be able to work with them once a year. They come to dance the demonstration at the ball, because there are so few of the foreigners who are able to come to the practice or interested in coming to the practices.
Yes.
That it's nice to be able to show a demonstration of what the dance should really look like with these girls and boys from Studio 116. And I love working with them.
Yeah.
They're just dedicated.
We have a video now we're going to show, and it's a short clip from, I think, last year's St. Andrew's Ball, where you have this group of Filipinos dancing, Scottish country dancing, no? Traditional Scottish country dancing. So let's have that video. Filipinos doing traditional Scottish country dancing. Who is the instructor?
Well, I work with them. The lady who is their full-time teacher is a lady, British lady by the name of Julie Plummer. But there are two of the dancers who are actually have moved through the ranks of their scholarship program and are now actually teaching in the school. Mark and Joy, two of the kids,
Oh,
the dancers
nice.
that
Oh,
you saw
nice.
there, and
Well,
they
well-
work with them.
I certainly hope you spread this spreads, because it does look like jolly good fun, and something that really, something nice to do and brings the community together.
Yes, oh, definitely. And of course, you don't have to be as good as that. You don't have to perfect it to that art. The whole point about it is to be able to dance, to enjoy, to be there with other people, and to enjoy the fun of it. If you look at any of the photographs of the ball that we had last year, when people are on the dance floor and dancing, you won't see a sad face. Everyone is smiling. That music is just infectious.
Absolutely. And I told Les earlier, when you hear the music, it's really, and it energizes the soul. I mean, you feel like standing up and dancing, basically.
Well, after the end of a long, hard day in the fields, I imagine they needed something to lift their spirits.
Absolutely.
So the dancing was always done as a part of that.
Absolutely. Okay, quickly, let's talk about St. Andrews, the St. Andrews Ball. What exactly are you guys celebrating during this ball? It's like is this the national day?
Patron saint.
Okay.
St. Andrews is
And
the
this is the
patron
National
saint
Day
of Scotland.
of Scotland.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in a few days is Robbie Burns' birthday, and you guys are also going to have a Robbie Burns Night, which is another big event for Scots all over the world. What is this Robbie Burns Night all about? Les?
Well, Robbie Burns is he's Scotland's national poet, but we think of him as a world poet. For instance, Abraham Lincoln, when he was growing up in Illinois, the only person in his village in Illinois that had a lot of books was a Scotsman. And the majority of books he had were Burns poems. So Abraham Lincoln himself grew up reading Robert
Robbie Burns, amazing.
So it influenced in many ways his attitude towards democracy, towards society, was based on Robert Burns. So in fact, during the 19th century, there were more statues to Robert Burns in the United States than there were in Scotland. So a little known fact. I've got many of these facts to throughout.
And it's just a testament of how pervasive this man's work
Correct.
has become. And,
Correct.
and you mentioned of set that even in Russia, Robbie Burns is a figure there.
They actually celebrate Robert Burns in Russia. And the reason is because he wrote a poem called A Man's a Man for All That, which is a poem about everyone is born equal. So everyone's a person in the society. And that appealed to, of course, to the Russian leaders at the time, the Soviet
Absolutely.
Union. But of course, he wrote the most popular song in the world, which is Old Lang Syne, which is a Robbie Burns song. So
Which everyone plays in New Year's.
everyone plays, everyone knows the song.
Yeah.
Very few people actually know the words, but they know the concept.
Guilty.
And,
Same thing. Same thing. I got to research what it actually means. An Old Lang Syne. What does it mean? What is Old
it
Lang
means
Syne?
old times past.
Okay.
For
this
memory.
is-
So you're thinking about memories.
This is a local language in Scotland.
Yeah, Scots is actually recognised as a minority language, but for a long time in Scotland it was discouraged that we had to all talk English. So growing up, I grew up speaking Scots, but like many people in the Philippines, you grow up speaking your dialect,
yes.
whether it's Hiligaynon or Waray or whatever it happens to be, and then you all move on to English and Tagalog. And that was the same in Scotland, but the language is resurging again. And it's
Very
resurging because people like it, they like the cultural aspect of it, and it's part of their
And the
culture.
nationalism, the revival of national,
correct.
which we'll talk about later
That's
when Rob Roy joins us.
Correct.
Okay, so Heather, quickly before we go, tell us a bit about Robbie Burns Night. What can people expect? What's going to happen? It's going to happen in a few days. Saturday, the 27th.
Saturday this year,
Yes.
the 27th. It's a dinner. We have some very interesting speakers who are going to tell us all about Robbie Burns and his life. We have the British ambassador is coming to toast the lassies, and Les's daughter is going to actually give the reply on behalf of the ladies of the evening.
Very good.
We have dancing planned. We have some pipers coming in to play, some very, very good singers coming along to sing, and it will all center on Burns, his life, his works, and the things that we really appreciate about him.
Very good, very good. And the venue of this event?
This year we're in the ballroom at the Dusitani Hotel.
Is this open to the public? Can people buy tickets to attend this, or is it by invitation only?
Because we're a very small society, everything we do is based mostly to support the community. So we do sell tickets, but they're really just to cover all costs that
Yes,
we have
expense, sure.
to put this. So if anybody's interested in coming along, we're very welcome to come along and be involved. don't expect all the, the gala that you might get on other events, but it's a fun evening, and it's certainly going to be something that people
Absolutely,
will enjoy.
and what a way to remember a man, great poet, and great person, basically, Robbie Burns. Amazing.
Yes.
Bravo. So, thank you very much, Heather, for coming on the show, because in a few moments we have, we're going to have Roy Espiritu, who is the only Filipino bagpipe player,
Yes.
to talk about bagpipes, and he's actually going to play a tune for us, Scotland the Brave, which is the title of this show. Thank you, guys. So, you guys stick around, because more of Scotland the Brave when Global Village returns.
It's in our history and our heritage. It's in our landscapes and our ancestry. Now is the time to follow in your ancestors' footsteps. Scotland, a spirit of its own.